Hakadosh Boker Or Masechet Sotah Daf Memchet Amud Aleph 48a1 says the Gemara. It says over here that what happened is we're talking about what's the reasoning that Yochanan Kohen Gadol came and he was mevatel vidui ma'asrot. So it says Amar Rabbi Yosef Chanina lefi she'eno tzrim oto ki tikunu, but they weren't giving it in the proper format. The Rachman Amar diavel alvim, but the Torah says you have to give ma'aser, which is basically ma'aser rishon. The first 10% it goes to the Leviim. But then what happened is that from the time of Ezra Sofer onwards, they were giving it to the Kohanim. Velo di ashar masrot. So he says, fine, but at least do vidui and all the other masrot. If you're not going to do it on Maaser Rishon because you're not giving it properly, but at least do it on Maaser Sheni, Maaser Ani. So Amar Shakish says Shakish, Kol Bayit Shen Mitvadeh al Maaser Rishon, any house that you're not going to come and do vidui in Maaser Rishon, Shuvino Mitvadeh al Ashar Masrot, then you cannot do it on any other type of masrot. My Tama, what's the reasoning? Amar Rabbi says, Hoilu Patach Bo Katuv Tchila. But since the Torah started with Maaser Rishon, you must do the vidui on Maaser Rishon. Miklal. So we want to infer from here that Frusha v'Mefrashe, what the Bizmano of Yochanan Kohen Gadol, they used to separate Trumot and Masrot. He says, Vatanya, we learned in a Braita, Afu bitelet vidui v'gazar al demai. He also annulled vidui Masrot, but he was gozer on demai. Because he went and he realized that they're only taking off Truma Gdolah. Remember, Truma Gdolah was the first Truma, right? Which is the first thing that you take off is Truma Gdolah, right? And then Maaser Rishon, Maaser Sheni, Miksatam Maaser, Miksatam Mesidim. Maaser Rishon, Maaser Sheni. Some people they take it off, and some people they didn't take it off. Amar lahem. So he comes Yochanan Kohen Gadol and he tells them, "Banai, my children, bo ve'omer lachem shekshem sheTruma Gdolah yesh ba'avon mitah." He comes and he says, just like if you don't take off Truma Gdolah, which is the first 1/50th, you have to take off, and that goes to a Kohen. There's going to be Mitah b'dei Shamayim if a person eats it without actually taking it off. So to the same thing was Trumat Maaser. Trumat Maaser is the 10% from the 10%. Remember, you have Maaser Rishon going to the Levi, and Trumat Maaser, which is Maaser Mina Maaser, which is 1 of the 10th, is going to go to the Kohen. And also Tevel. Tevel is untithed produce. Also, there's going to be Amvod Mitah. There's going to be the punishment of death. Mitah b'dei Shamayim. So Amad Yochanan, so it stood up Rabbi Yochanan Kohen Gadol, v'itkin lahem, and he instituted Halokeach perot me'am haaretz. If you're going to purchase perot from an am haaretz, mafrish mehen, you're going to separate from them Maaser Rishon u'Maaser Sheni. You're going to separate Maaser Rishon u'Maaser Sheni. Maaser Rishon, right? When you're going to do Maaser Rishon, mafrish mimenu trumat Maaser. Right? Then they're going to separate the Trumat Maaser, because the Levi who receives the Maaser Rishon takes off the other Maaser, and he's going to give that to the Kohen. Not ala Kohen. Maaser Sheni, or Levo Yerushalayim. Maaser Sheni goes up to Yerushalayim. When do you take off Maaser Sheni?
1245.
1245. Thank you. What? Yeah. So he says, or Levo Yerushalayim. Maaser Rishon, Maaser Ani. When do you do Maaser Ani? 3-6. Yeah, 3-6. It's the other 2 years basically. Yeah, 1, 2, 4, 5. So 3-6 is Maaser Ani. Okay, Maaser Rishon Maaser Ani. Hamotzi mechavelo alav l'rayah. Here, since he's Maasrot, there's no Yisur Achila for Yisrael, but the Chiyuv is to give it to a Levi or to an Ani. So therefore, it's a Safek Maaser. So therefore, since there's no Chashash of the Yisur, but only there's a Safek, does it go to the Levi or to the Ani? So therefore, here we go like any other type of dinim amonot, which is a motzi mechavelo lavariyah. Okay, so he comes and he says now like this. He says, right, tarte tiken. Really, be'emet, you're right. Yochanan Kohen Gadol instituted 2 different institutions. Number 1, bitel vidui de chaverim. He was mevatel the vidui masrot of that even tamidei chachamim which are makpidim on masrot, they're not allowed to do vidui. That means nobody's allowed to do vidui anymore on the vidui masrot. Then number 2, gazar al demai v'shalom haaretz. That he was gozer on the ma'id v'ma'aretz, and you still have to come and to separate ma'asrot. And on this takana, the Braita says, right, that the reasoning was because a lot of people were not taking off ma'aser. Meaning, since there were so many people that they weren't taking off ma'aser, that's why they have to come and they have to take off. What is demai? Demai means I have a doubt whether he took off ma'aser or not. Since Yochanan Kohen Gadol saw so many people that they weren't doing it, so therefore he went and instituted, you have to take off ma'aser. Okay, until you're clear. Okay, we're on the 2 dots. The 2 dots says, Vafu bitelet me'oredim. He was mevatel oredim. What are we referring to here over here? Oredim are the people that they go against, like, that they're me'orer. They come and they say, this is not true, or something like that. So he says, my oredim. He says, Amar Lachava bechol yom v'yom shel yom dimel levim al duchan. Ve'omrim, every single day the Levim used to go into the Bet HaMikdash to sing Shira, and they used to say, yeah, Ura lama tishan Hashem. What does that mean? Right? Ura lama tishan Hashem. He says, Amar lahen Yochanan Kohen Gadol comes and he says, V'chiyeh shena lifnei makom. What does that mean? Ura, wake up. Why are you going to sleep, Hashem? He says, what, is there shena in front of Hashem? What does that mean even? Right? V'alo kvar ne'eman. It says, so what's going on there? Right? And the other one was the Perek Tehillim of Mem Daled. Ura lama tishan Hashem. Right? So if we say in the one that we always say, which is Kuf Kaf Aleph, 121, Shila Ma'alot, right? Lo yinum lo yishan. So what do you mean then Ura lama tishan Hashem? Ella, but rather, בזמן שישראל שרויים בצרות ואומות העולם בצער ואומות העולם בנחת ושלווה, when בני ישראל are suffering and the אומות העולם are enjoying themselves, הקדוש ברוך הוא כאילו כביכול he's sleeping. And therefore, לכך נאמר, that's why it says, אורה למה תישן השם? Hashem, please, why are you sleeping? Right? Why is it that you're just like כאילו? It's not that mamash is sleeping. It doesn't exist that he's sleeping. But it's כאילו the concept, the fact that we are suffering and אומות העולם are in benachat, that in itself is כאילו כביכול that Hashem is sleeping. So we're saying, Hashem, why are you sleeping? Wake up! Yeah? Ken. Okay. Next two dots. The afu. So here the lashon me'orerim is the ones which are like awakening. Okay. So now it comes and he says, "V'afu bitelet hanokfim." What are the nokfim exactly? My nokfim. The two dots says, "Amar Rabbi Shmuel shayu mesartin lahegel ben kanav kedei sheyipol dam be'enav." Right? Do you know what they used to do when they used to come and bring a korban, a calf? What they used to do is that they used to make, right, like a slice or whatever you want to call it exactly, between his horns, in order that the blood will come down into his eyes, and therefore once the blood comes into his eyes, he can't see.
So it's still alive.
Yeah, it's still alive. Now, when they used to do this, they used to do it in order that they could bring him down easier, right? So now, right, you're going to come and he says, so he couldn't see, right? That's what they purposely like made him blind. How did he make him blind? By basically putting his own blood in his eyes. Yeah? So, ata iu batil, right? But here, he came and he said, he was mevatel this minhag. He says, why was he mevatel such a minhag? Right? He comes and he says, right? He says, why? Mishum de mixe kimuma. Because this petza looks like a mum. And therefore, since it looks like a blemish, so therefore that's why it does not help. Which means that at the end of the day, right, what's happening is that over here, you're not placing a mum. It's not a real blemish. Just making like a line and then blood starts coming down a little bit, but it's not a blemish. Right? If a person gets a little tiny cut, right? Imagine he's a Kohen. That's it. He's pasul for kiuna. He's got cut and blood is coming out. Obviously not. A blemish is a real blemish. But the fact that here it looks like you're placing a mum in the animal, so therefore that's why they stop that. You tell the people, no, you're not allowed to do that. In our Braita we learned, they used to hit it with maklot in order to bring it down. Just like they do by Avodah Zarah. He says, when are you going to give a nevelah to the mizbeach? Which means, right, it's going to be like a nevelah, because if you're going to start coming and hitting it, right, maybe it's going to die or whatever it is, and now it's going to be a problem. So nevelot, what is nevelah? Nevelah means that you have an animal without shchita. That's a nevelah, right? If you're going to come and you're going to go to Publix and you take a cow's meat, what's that called? It's a nevelah. It's not trefa. We nickname it trefot. Really, it's nevelah. Why? There was no shchita done to it. An animal that is kosher without shchita is called nevelah. Trefa means that even if you did do shchita, but there was no that it was going to die within the year, right? It was going to die within the year. It's trefa. Yeah. If it's going to die within the year, it's nikra trefa. Well, they know according to the simanim in the inside. They check the animals inside. Betoch shana, matay shata shachata ota. If you know that right now, within the year, it would have died, so it's called a trefa.
She chola.
Nevelot hashachilu. How could you come and you tell me that this is a nevelah? They just did shechita. They do shechita. It's not a nevelah. Ela trefot. They can make it into a trefa. Because by them coming and beating up the egel with a stick, they can make it into a trefa, not a nevelah. Right? Because maybe all of a sudden now it's going to be pasul for the mizbeach. So then he went and he made them the tabaot and the karka, and therefore they could come and they could actually do it properly. Because remember, they used to stick the head of the animal inside the tabat.
Yeah.
They used to close the tabat. They used to put it lying down on the floor. Then they used to come and put a tabat. They used to close it, and now it was stuck because basically, like you tied its neck down, and now the neck is revealed. But you just do shanta v'gamarnu. Okay. Ad yamav haya patish maka b'Yerushalayim. Until his days, there was a hammer, hammering away in Yerushalayim. So says the Gemara, Yecholo shel Moed. We're talking about during Chol HaMoed for the Varav. Because why can't you start pounding away with a hammer during the year? So the answer is we're talking about during Chol HaMoed. Okay, but Chol HaMoed you're not allowed to work. So the answer was no. It was the Vara Haved, something which you're going to lose out. So it's going to be permitted. So basically saying that he made a gezerah that they're not allowed to do that even for the Vara Haved, because not everyone knows the Vara Haved. So they said, they're not allowed to do this in Yerushalayim. Nobody ever needed to ask on Demayan during his days. Kedamran, as we already mentioned above, because he was the one that came and started with this concept of the Demai. So therefore, that's why until then they didn't need to ask. Next Mishnah, very important Mishnah, yeah? Mishebatla Sanhedrin. Once the Sanhedrin was annulled, Batal Ashir Mibet Mishtaot. So then they prohibited singing in the places where they used to drink wine. Okay, so once there was no Sanhedrin anymore, now you can't come and start singing in the wine, wine places. We're gonna see Shneimah says Bashir lo yishtu yain, right? What does that mean? The Gemara is going to explain the difference. We're talking about the Bitula Sanhedrin, which means that once we annul, there's no more Sanhedrin anymore, so now you can't start singing away and doing whatever you want for no reason. Mishemetu HaNevi'im HaRishonim. Once the Nevi'im HaRishonim, during the time of the Beit Rishon, they died. Patru Urim Tumim. There was no more Urim Tumim. Remember, the Urim Tumim was the Kohen Gadol used to wear this Urim Tumim, and it had the Shem and Furash, and that was used to give them the codes of what was with the Ruach HaKodesh. After Beit Rishon, it was already annulled. Mishecharav Bet HaMikdash, once the Bet HaMikdash was destroyed, Batel HaShamir. So then the Shamir was annulled. Remember, the Shamir was like a tolat that used to come and used to, like it was laser. It used to use like laser, and it used to cut the stones, right? Whether it was you're not allowed to cut it with a knife. So it was cut like with a laser. So this is like was a worm that would you be able to do this. The Nofet Sufim, and it was also Batel, the Nofet Sufim. What is the Nofet Sufim? The Gemara is going to explain what this is. Upasku Anshe Amanah, and it stopped the people that had emunah in Hakadosh Baruch Hu Misrael. Shenemar Hoshia Hashem ki Gemar Chasi Kifas Umanim Bnei Adam. Okay. Next, Rabbi Shimon Lelamed. He Rabbi Yeshua comes and he says, Yom Shechar Bet HaMikdash, from the time the Bet HaMikdash was destroyed, and Yom Shem Bo Klala, right? There's no day that doesn't have a Klala. Velo Yarad Atal Ibracha, and the Tal did not come down as a Beracha. Venital Tam HaPerot, the taste of fruits have gone away. Rabbi Yosef Omer, Afshe Nital Shuman HaPerot, even the Shuman HaPerot was taken away, the fats of the fruits. Rabbi Shimon Elazar Omer, HaTa'aram Netla Et HaTam Vet HaReach, right? The fact that we don't have Ta'ara anymore, that took away the taste and the smell of the fruits. The Ma'asrot Natulu Shuman HaDagan, and the Ma'asrot took away the Shuman HaDagan, the fats of these grains. Chachamim say, Haznut v'akshafim kilu et hakol. And then afterwards, when they were talking about sorcery and immorality, that actually came and destroyed everything else because of the avon of zinut. Ra'av comes because it says Kol ha'bayil isha zunah lesov mevakesh ki kal lechem. That's what they say. The person has relations with a zunah. Afterwards, he becomes poor. So therefore, he's coming in and saying. So that's why they started coming and losing out, whether it's going to be on the everything that they had over there. Says the Gemara. How do we know that we're talking about now that once the Sanhedrin, right, was going to be batel, right? So now ki'ilu, that's it. Now we're saying that you're not allowed to sing anymore in the places where they used to drink. So Amar Ravuna ben Yeshua says Yeshua. The Amakar says in Pasuk, this is in Hechal, Zekenim misha'ar shavatu bachurim miniginatam, which means once the Zekenim are not sitting anymore in the sha'ar, in the gates, which that's the Sanhedrin, because it says so then also the Bachurim are not allowed to be singing, right? Miniginatam, the Bachurim are not allowed to come and start singing wherever they are. So Amar Rav says Rav, Urna deshama zimra teaker. The Oziel, which is listening to music, should be right uprooted, which means he was actually cursing anybody that comes and starts singing and all these things. That's why, by the way, you should know when you look in the Yalkut Yosef, even when he's talking about songs, right after the Churban Bayit, he says that it's like a leniency to listen to music. It's not like that I just listen to music. And it's meaning that nowadays we listen to music. It's a leniency. right? It's not just stam that listen to music whenever you want, but you just heard. It was a curse on somebody that's listening to music. Because after the Bet HaMikdash was destroyed, we're going to start coming and listening to music, right? And if you're going to tell me it's for weddings, for this, that's something a little bit different. Because there you could say, listen, it's a simcha, it's a little bit, but stam listening to music, obviously that's what we're talking about. So Amar Rava comes and he says, Zimra beveta churba besipa. He says, when you have a person that they're singing in a person's house, it brings churban, it brings destruction in the entrance of the house. Yeah? Because it says your sipa is like saif. Shnemar, it says in the pasuk, kol yeshorer b'chalon, right? Which means it's gorem shevo chorev, which is churban basaf in the entrance. Ki erera era. Okay? Mai ki erera era. What?
Why in the entrance?
Because basically, since he's not being mitabel al churban bet HaMikdash, right? He says, unenash shebeto yecharev, right? Shezo midah keneged midah. So he says it's going to be destroyed because it's midah keneged midah, right? Usually, where do they do the amal on the entrance of the house? Okay, my kirda era. What does it mean kirda era? Yitzchak says, Amar Yitzchak, bayit amsubach barazim irhu. He comes and he says, what, are you going to tell me now that when you have a house which is going to be built out of cedar wood, it's considered a city? He says, Kiru, when it says era min lashon is ir. Ir is a city. So you're going to tell me now that the house which is built out of cedar wood is considered a city, and therefore you can't destroy it? It doesn't make sense. The pasuk is coming to teach you that a house is not easy to be destroyed. At the beginning, we were talking about that it is going to be destroyed because they were listening to music. But rather, even if you have a house which is made out of cedar wood, which is the strongest of the woods, mitroya, it will be destroyed because of shida. So if they come and they start singing, it will be destroyed. Amar Ravashi comes and he says, Shema mina, we learn from here, ki matchil churba besifa matchil. When the destruction starts, it starts from the entrance of the house. Shlemar chorev basaf, right? That it's going to be at the entrance. Okay, fine. V'baitema me'achar, or if you want, you can have another pasuk. The other pasuk says, Ushia yukat shar. What does that mean? That since the houses are going to be like deserted, from nobody living in them, yuktu sharim shalem through shedim. So Amar Mor Baravashi says, so he says, right? It was mamash. I myself saw these shedim trying to take down this house, and mamash, he was like goring the house like an ox. The shedim, like mamash, they were going at it. You understand? Amar Ravuna comes and he says, Zimra de Nagde, the shir that they used to sing, the people that they were the sailors when they were picking up, the things in order to do quickly, meaning when they're working, they sing in order to make the work quicker, right? So they used to come and take down the sails or things like that, so they used to sing. So it says, Shadi, that's going to be permitted, okay? Because this they never prohibited. However, though the Gardai, if it's going to be the Orgim, the ones which are weaving, and they're doing it, it's going to be Asur. Because there, it's only because of schok, it's not because of anything else. Which basically, that's what they're trying to come and say, that the shida, if it's going to be some meorerotam to do their work quicker, so therefore it's going to be permitted. Okay, fine. 100%, those are praises of Hashem. That's something completely different. We're not, it's praising Hashem is something completely different. Here we're just talking about stam singing.
Before the Churban.
Yeah, and also that was before the Churban. Rav Huna batil zimra. Rav Huna was gazar in this generation that nobody could have music, whether it's going to be in the houses or the these drinking places. So all of a sudden, the price of the 100 of Ozim came to 1 zuz. And everything just but they couldn't find purchasing and everything. But that means no matter how cheap it was just there was nothing. Why? Because basically because of the Takana of Rav Huna, there was such a big shefa gadol ba'olam, right? So therefore, basically what happened was that look, all of a sudden everything went down in prices. Yeah? Everything went down in prices. So Atar of Chasta Zalzil Beh, he was mezalzel bezeh because basically he wasn't makpid on the people that were going against it. Then he buy avza bezuz of the mishtakach. Then they wanted to pay 1 zuz, right? 1 avaz for 1 zuz, and they couldn't find it. That means you see from here that if the fact that he was mezalzel in the gzirav Rav Huna, that was annulled the shefa ba'olam. It annulled the abundance in the world. Meaning when they kept their word and they weren't singing for no reason, right? And they stopped it. No singing. Meaning not just time. A person's walking around, he wants music. No. Churban Bet HaMikdash. they were able, look how much abundance they had. They had so much abundance, they were able to sell 100 avazim in one zuz. You know what that is? 100. Even if you're talking about chickens, avaz is like a duck. 100 of them for one zuz.
How much is one zuz?
One zuz is like $1 in their times. You know what that is? 100 for $1? Even if you tell me $10. Exactly. That means he's saying, look at the abundance.
That's before they stopped singing.
No, that's when they stopped singing. They had an abundance. They had a shefa, so they could have 100. Imagine right now, I'm going to tell you, you could buy 100 tongues for $1.
I'd rather sell one of us for $100.
That's you, but we're talking about the beracha that comes into the world. You're only looking for making money. Right? You're only looking for making money. We're not talking about that. Right? But then afterwards, when they were mizalzel in the takana, was different.
Abundance in the world, so they can sell it.
Amar Rav Yosef, says of Yosef, Zamre Gavre ve'ane nashai. Men that are singing and women are answering behind them, pritzuta is pritzut, because obviously a man is not allowed to listen to a woman singing. Zamre nashe ve'ane gavre, but if the women are singing and the men are answering, meaning that there's like the stanza or the chorus. So if the women are the ones that are really singing and the men are the one that are answering behind them, Taesh bin Oret. That's like they're firing up the Yetzer Hara within them. Right? That's mamash fire. Right? Remember, the women are the fire. The may nafkamina. What's the nafkamina? Levetu leha mikameha. Which one do you stop first? Meaning, if they're both happening, what does the rabbis have to stop first? So obviously they have to stop the second one first, which are the women singing, right, and the men answering behind them. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, says of Yochanan, Kol hashoteh, anybody that's going to drink wine, with 4 types of the different utensils. As the Gemara is going to talk about the 4 different kelim, he's bringing 5 mishaps or 5 calamities to the world, 5 bad things to the world. What's written immediately after this pasuk? They were exiled. What does that mean? Because they cause golut leolam. Then they're going to die with hunger. They're going to bring hunger. They're going to cause thirst. Here we're not talking about thirst, because the hunger already includes thirst, but rather they're causing that the Torah is going to be forgotten from Israel. Right? They're causing downfall, right? Or that we're becoming humbled to the enemies of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Obviously, that's not the enemies, it's a euphemism. It means HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem ish milchama. So it comes out 4 things: galut, ra'av, shichat Torah, shiflut to the soneh of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which means ki'ilu kiviyachol HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and shiflut liYisrael. Right? So that means these are the 5 things which are caused because people are coming and drinking wine with 4 different types of utensils. That's what it says. Woe to the people that wake up in the morning. They're running after beer and drinks. When you had the wine which was lighting them up, and then they have the kinor, nevel, tof, vechalil. Right? There's the harp. How do you translate these things? The harp, these are all the different types of the utensils, whether it's the flute, the harp, the drums, right? And the nevel, the kinor. It's always, how do you translate it's always like okay, this is the concept of the 4. Okay, fine. Makti v'acharav, what's written immediately afterwards? Lachen, memchet amubet, 48b. Hirchiva sheol nafsha u'fara pia libli chok, yarad adara v'amuna u'shona ve'alez ba. So therefore its mouth went, and it went without gvul, and it went inside of it, of Yerushalayim, and all the people that were singing, which means that after it brought all these calamities, they're going to still fall in Gehinam. Even after that, after all these things that we just mentioned, there's still Gehinam waiting for them. Fine, next. Mishemetu nevi'im arishonim. Once the nevi'im arishonim came and they passed away. Yeah, so then what happens exactly? So he comes and he says like this. He says, right, Ma nevi'im arishonim. Who are the first nevi'im? Amaravuna zed David u'Shmuel u'Shlomo. David HaMelech, Shmuel HaNavi, and Shlomo HaMelech. Those are nevi'im rishonim. Which means that it comes out when Shlomo passed away, there was no Urim Tumim anymore. Nachman says, even during the times of David HaMelech, sometimes it came and sometimes it didn't come. But he asked Tzadok and it worked. But when he asked Eviatar HaKohen, it didn't work. Right? That means it comes out that it didn't work the Urim Tumim by Eviatar. So there were 2 different Kohanim during the time of David HaMelech, Tzadok Kohen and Eviatar Kohen. Tzadok it did work. Eviatar no. So Mativ Rabbi Bar Shmuel, asked Rabbi Bar Shmuel, Vahili Dorosh Elokim b'Mezecharia hamevin birot Elokim. Are we not talking about that when they're asking Hashem? We're not talking about Beurim Tumim. So here, this is much later, because here we're talking about throughout the other kings of Oziel Melech Yehuda, and they asked Beurim Tumim. So answers the Gemara, no, they didn't ask Beurim Tumim. They asked Benevim. They asked the prophets. No, Beurim Tumim. Tashma, we're going to bring another proof. Once the Bet HaMikdash was destroyed, it was annulled the Batei Migrash. Upaskurim v'tumim, and it was also annulled the Urim v'tumim. Upasak Melech Bet David, and then there was no king of David. People are going to say, "Vayomer tishtad lahem." That Nehemiah comes and he tells them, "Shalom, Urim v'tumim." And more you should tell them, it's like a person coming seeing his friends. Until there's going to be Tchiyat HaMetim, Mashiach ben David is going to come. So come out that they didn't actually have it then. But it was kilu, but you're mentioning Tchiyat HaMetim. Okay? And then he says like this. So he says, but rather, right, we're talking about it says it's coming to exclude Chagai Zechayah Malachim, because these are already considered like Acharonim, not Nevi'im Rishonim. The Tanu Rabbanan, as we learned in the Braita, Mishemetu Chagai Zechayah Malachim, Silka Ruach HaKodesh from Israel. Once Chagai Zechayah Malachim passed away, they was taken away Ruach HaKodesh from Israel. And even so, they still used to use a bat kol. That means they didn't have like the concept of the Ruach HaKodesh, but they had a bat kol, which is a lower level of Ruach HaKodesh. It's still a heavenly voice, meaning obviously there's something there, but it wasn't the same. As the ones happened that they were in the Aliyat Bait, right, Bet Guria in Yericho. You should know that there's somebody from amongst you that it's fitting to have Shekhinah on him. But the door is not fitting. Right? So they placed their eyes on Hillel Zaken. When he passed away, Hillel Zaken, they made the sped and they said, Hoy Chasid Hayav Anav Talmido Shel Ezra Sofer. Look at this Chasid, look at this Anav. He was a Talmid of Ezra HaSofer. Right? It's compared to Ezra HaSofer. Because also Hillel Zaken was Allah Mibavel Teretz Yisrael and he became a Nasi. Right? And that's why he was called Talmido Shel Ezra. Because obviously he wasn't the Talmid of Ezra HaSofer. Hillel Zaken was much later. Right? So it says, there was another place at the time that they were in the Aliyah of Yavneh. The same thing. It's a generation that's not fitting them. They looked at Shmuel HaKatan. When they passed away, they said, he's a Tamid. And even Shmuel HaKatan, he did have Shekhinah. Amar B'Sham Yitito, he said, Shimon v'Yishmael lecharba. Shimon HaNasi and Yishmael ben Elisha Kohen Gadol are going to be killed by the sword. And also their friends are going to be killed. And everybody else is going to be lavaz, going to be desecrated. And there's going to be a lot of tzarot rabot which are going to come unto Am Yisrael. And even on Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava, they wanted to say but all of a sudden he became the Nitbalbel Sha'ah, and therefore they couldn't actually come and do his sped. They never do hespedim on Arugei Malchut. Which means that if somebody's killed by the government, they never used to let them do eulogy. So because of that, that's why they weren't able to do the eulogy to him. That means they wanted to do it. They wanted to say, look at this chassid, look at this anab. They weren't able to. Once he's killed by the government, they were afraid. Because imagine the government, which one?
Who was he?
Once the Bet HaMikdash was destroyed, there was no Shamir anymore. We learned in the Braita. Shamir shebo bana Shlomo Bet HaMikdash. Right, there was a Shamir that Shlomo Melech built the Bet HaMikdash. Ne'emar, Bible was which means that it was built from Avanim Shlemot. Right, that means they actually uprooted them and they brought them the way that they were. They didn't use any metal utensils in order for the building of the Bet HaMikdash. Okay, these are the words of Rabbi Yehuda. Malor of Nehemiah says you could actually say that. It already says all these stones Avanim Migorot B'Megera. They're like from Kli Barzel. So what does it mean then? He says no, they used to actually come and do it on the outside, right, with utensils of stone, of iron and things like that, and then they used to bring it on the inside. But it was done right on the outside with iron or with metal, and then they used to bring it on the inside. Rabbi says in the very Yehuda, it's more the compare. It's more better to say like the words of Rabbi Yehuda, Avnei Mikdash, and Rabbi Nehemiah Avnei Beto, right, with his own. The houses with his own stones of his own house. Meaning, for Rabbi Yehuda, it's much better to say these words on the Avanim of the Bet HaMikdash. but they didn't cut them at all. But the ones of your own houses, that yes. According to Nechemia, Shamir L'mayata. Why did you mean the Shamir? You needed it for that which is written in Braita. Right? You're not going to write b'dio, mishum shnei, it says v'tuchei chotam. Then mesartim otam alem b'zemen. You're not going to come and scratch on them with any zemen. Mishum shnei b'milu otam, has to be complete. Ela kotev alem b'dio. You used to write it in dio. Umarelem b'chutz ve'en nivkaot. And then the shamir used to come and look at it, and then he used to like make a hole into it, like he used to make the tzurat ha'om elehen. Ki te'ena zu shenivka b'chom, just like a te'ena which is going to be like broken open. Right, during the Yimot HaChama, ve'ena chasera klum, and it's not lacking anything. Because Ushi Nivka b'Yimot HaGeshamim, ve'ena chasera klum, and it's not lacking anything. Tanu Rabbanan, we learned in the Braita, Shamir ze briato keseora. This Shamir, right, is like the creation of it is going to be like a seora. U'misheshem b'reshina nivra. Seora is a barley, right, and from the 6 days of creation was created. Nothing could come in front of it. How do you actually come and you make sure that it's not going to be saved, right? You put it into wool.
Tuft of wool.
How do you call it?
Tuft
wool.
Tufts.
Tufts wool. Okay, tufts wool. And they put it inside like of a shoferet, inside a tube of a var, of oferet, of plum, of plum. How do you say it? Lead. Thank you. Melea subei seonim, which is full of subei seonim.
This he cannot cross.
Yeah, that he can't cross it. So yes, that's why they do it that way. That means these are the things that they do in order to make sure that he's not going to get out. So Amar Rabbi Yami says, Rabbi Yami Shechar Bet Hamikdash, Mikdash Rishon, once the Bet Hamikdash Rishon was destroyed, Batla Shira Pradra Uzchihu Levina. So it comes over here that this type of like linen, right, like silks, were taken away, and then the Zichuchi Levina are also white glass. So Taim Yachi also learned it in Braita, Shechar Bet Hamikdash Rishon, Batla Shira Pradra Uzchihu Levina, V'Rechev Barzel. Right, and also this metal rechavim. V'yesh omrim even yain karu shaba mishnir misenir hadomek igula devila, or that it's going to be congealed. It's going to be batel after the churban habayit. Next, nofet tzufim. What is nofet tzufim? I know nofet tzufim. Amar Rav, because we said that once the Beit Hamikdash was destroyed, so then there was no tal anymore, tal of bracha. There was no nofet tzufim. Amar Rav comes and he says solet shetzaf al gevei nafa. We're talking about a very good, appreciative flour, which is on top of the nafa, the sieve. So this is compared to the isa, which was going to be kneaded with zvash v'shemen. Levi says the shteki karot to 2 breads, which are going to be in the tanun. They keep on growing until they hit each other. We're talking about dvash. Dvash is the honey, which is coming from the tzofim. My mashma, how do you know this? Okay, Rav Shasha, just like Rav Shasha comes and he brings down from a Targum, where it says over there, right? Just like they're coming in the Devorim, they're spreading out, and they go all over the entire world. And they come and they bring honey from all different places of the world, so too it's the same thing. We come and we learn to the Mishnah Tahor. When you're going to be yotzek, which means you're pouring a mashke tahor into mashke tameh, the mashke which is inside of the top one is still going to be tahor. Except for dvash, zipim, and tzapichim, which are different types of dvash, which they're very, very thick. Because basically when you stop, it goes back upwards. So therefore the nitzok is like mechaberotam, it connects them, and therefore it's going to be bad. So my zipim, what are zipim? Rabbi Yochanan says dvash and zipim, but we're talking about dvash, which they come and they start using, right? And you can't tell of it. The Shaki says that Shem Mekomo, no, it's because of where it comes from. That's why it's called dvash zipim. As it's written, zif batelem uvalot. Okay, so you say the same thing. Hello, David is with us. My zifim, what does it mean zifim? The people which are like they're like lo telech rachil b'mecha. Rabbi Lazar comes and he says, Hashem mekumam, the name of the place. It says a pasuk, zif vatelem uvalot. Fine. Then we said upasku and shemen amunah. There's not going to be people that believe in Hashem anymore. So he says, Amar Rabbi Yitzchak says, these are people that believe in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Tanya was learned to the right. Rabbi says, anybody that has bread in his basket, and he says, what am I going to eat tomorrow? He's going to be miktaneh amana. That he doesn't have emunah in Hashem. But he's asking, what are we going to do for tomorrow? That's what Rabbi Lazar says. Kimi vaz liyom ktanot. Who's going to cause the tzaddikim that they're going to lose their schar? Latil lavo katnut shaya ba'in, the katnut because they didn't believe in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Another explanation of Amar says, We're talking about the banim of the Rishaim of Yisrael, that they actually died when they were younger, right? Because they are going to tear up the din of their father. They said, if right now you're going to come, you're going to pay them back. So why are you coming and you're causing them tsar with our death? Meaning that the little children are dying, and because the little children are dying, they're coming, they're saying, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, what exactly are you doing? Why, if you're already going to anyway pay them back later on, so why are you killing us? You're killing the children of the Rishaim in order to exact retribution. We'll continue with Hashem tomorrow.